Internet, if we haven't been burned to a crisp just yet, we're back yet again for another grand adventure where we test our metal, sharpen our iron, and slay the dragons. This is the third edition in the series, and if you haven't seen parts 1 or 2, check them out. Plenty of fire breathing to go around. And if you forgot what a dragon is in Survivor's context, it's the final boss of a season. It's the big game that the players want to hunt and put on their resume. And they do. They get slain, as the video title suggests. And so here are 5 more of the biggest dragons in Survivor history. Let's start with one of the more recent dragons to ever exist from season 47. It's the ferocious Genevieve. Jen was something fierce. She barely made a peep in the pre-merge until the Keyshawn boot, then immediately arrived on the scene as a force to be reckoned with. She had a good social game with connections across the board, and she struck her biggest blow at the Sol vote. She truly bared her fangs, and the rest of the cast began to get concerned. It may have been too much too soon, too early in the merge, and from here on out, Jen became a known threat that had to be dealt with. The amusing thing is that from Jen's perspective, Rachel was the dragon. Rachel was in the same spot, a massive threat, a good social game, a challenge beast. It's just that Rachel was a little better at those challenges, a little swifter with her positioning, and she ended up finally finishing the fight with Jen at the final 5 after both of them had sized each other up from the moment they merged. These two were just clashing in the air, scraping each other up. It was a great battle where both sides got in their blows, but in the end, Rachel won the day, and the game was hers.
Perception is reality, and so if Sue and Rachel do genuinely believe I have an idol, and they believe I'll play it for myself, which means they will put votes on Sam.
Genevieve confirms it. I've got her. I'm gonna be able to take her out tonight if that's what I choose to do.
14th person voted out, and the 7th member of our jury. Genevieve, need to bring me your torch? Genevieve, the tribe has spoken.
They have.
And I gotta say, the latest era of the show has been pretty dang good at creating dragons given the previous 2 videos I made, because this next one is also from the same era, season 41, where we actually saw 2 dragons emerge, similar to the Cody and Jesse dynamic on 43. We had Shan and Ricard, except Ricard slayed Shan a little bit earlier, halfway into the merge, and suddenly usurped all of her threat to become the final boss of the season. The jury were constantly baffled how nobody was voting this guy out. He was a triple threat. His win was a done deal, and yet he was still making it through votes. Well, yeah, he was a befriended dragon of the eventual winner, Erica, who worked with him as a shield to distract the others from targeting her. Ricard was priority numero uno, and when Erica finally bested him at the final 5 immunity, he was exposed and the jig was up. The top of the finale was basically one long send-off to Ricard, as it was blatantly obvious he was getting slain, and yeah, he did.
Of course it makes sense to get rid of Ricard tonight. He's by far the biggest threat to win the game. Deshawn is definitely not as big of a threat to win, but after last tribal council, I just can't trust Deshawn.
Ricard's an obvious vote. He's the big threat here, but we've developed this really strong bond over the game, and it does tug at my heartstrings. I really just hate to see him in such pain.
14th person voted out, and the 7th member of our jury. Ricard, that's 3 hits enough. Need to bring me your torch.
Good job, Ricard.
Ricard, the tribe has spoken. Time to go.
Chaos can be a ladder if you create an algorithm to take advantage of the confusion amongst the rest of the cast. The third dragon here is from season 37, David vs. Goliath, and it is Christian. With his entertaining hijinks from the premiere all the way up to his boot at the final 7, Christian was a known threat early in the merge, and his idol plays and rising up from the bottom only helped secure his status as a big-time player who couldn't be allowed to reach the final tribal at any cost. Need I remind you that Christian was a part of that massive blindside of the season against John. The minority split vote with Nick and Davey, the mayor of Slamtown, goes down, but then Christian also had a second idol play after Gabby turned on him not long after. He also pulled off the Carl blindside, just a series of wild moves that, when combined with his challenge prowess, left everyone else needing him out. Christian believed that he had to create any sort of chaos to distract the tribe from all grouping up against him. A pretty good idea for any dragon to employ, but it was for naught, as they finally got him at the final 7 when the vote fell his way, even though it wasn't a done deal, given Allison was also a big target. Unfortunately for her, she wasn't narratively a big target, not enough to be a top 15 dragon by my estimation, but hey, I also think she should have had a better edit, and I talked about that in a video just last year. Christian was the dragon of season 37, and his algorithmic slingshot was a sight to behold.
The vote is gonna be for Allison. Allison is the biggest threat.
The plan handed down by Godfather Carl. When I was beckoned to his bedside, he tells me, Christian, the vote is Allison. We're leaving Gabby out of it. Cool with that? Carl, I'm cool with that. Absolutely. I always love to defer all my major strategic decisions to someone who's still half sloshed.
12th person voted out and the 5th member of our jury.
I can't let myself get lured into that sense of security, like, oh, Christian's looking out for me, Christian's got my back. I need to play for me. At this point, it's go big or go home. And what bigger move than going against your closest ally who happens to be the biggest threat in the game?
If this works, then I'm losing my closest ally and my best friend in this game. But it's something I need to do for my game.
Okay, if anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Okay.
Give me a second, Chef. I'll play it. This has been in my shoe for the past 4 tribal councils, and as one might imagine, is slightly uncomfortable.
13th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury. Gabby, need to bring me your torch?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I'll miss you.
For me, I feel like Christian is the most likely person left in the game to win. But it's like, you'd think that with only 7 people, there wouldn't be that many possibilities, but it seems like there's more possibilities tonight than there's ever been.
14th person voted out and the 7th member of our jury. Christian, need to bring me your torch? Well, Christian, the tribe has spoken.
Good luck to you all. Well played.
Sorry, Christian.
The final 2 dragons are going to be a bit older school. The 4th one is Kenny from season 17, Gabon. Despite maining Marth in Smash Bros, a legendary dragon slayer from the Fire Emblem series, Ken became the dragon in this Gabonese wilderness when he went from 0 to hero over the course of the season, rising from the ashes of that miserable Fong tribe to take control of the game at the merge and appear to be the frontrunner by the end. Early on, Kenny was stuck on one of the worst tribes in Survivor history, and his position in the game only got worse through the pre-merge. Yeah, he was surviving, but his numbers were dwindling as his tribe just kept losing challenges. However, at the merge, he got a lucky break with the hero of the story, Marcus, being voted out by Ken's hand. And from the final night onward, Kenny became the main puppet master pulling the strings. Unfortunately, as is the case with these dragons, he got a little ahead of himself come the final 7. A little too cute for his own good. He raised a red flag, he spooked his other allies, and suddenly the soldiers he thought were on his side were now against him. Maddie, Susie, and Sugar flipped alongside Bob, and first Crystal went, followed shortly by Kenny. Kenny was a frontrunner and a huge threat. His trajectory seemed almost too good to be true, and then it was. I guess you could say he got KO'd.
If anyone can be called a survivor, it's him. He's already survived 11 trips to Tribal Council.
I have been calling the shots since day 1 out here. You know, I am the mastermind. I've set myself up so well in this game right now that I can just chill and relax all day, and I already confirmed it today. If Bob wins, then it's Susie that's gonna go first, so I'm not worried.
14th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury. Kenny, that's 3, that's enough. Need to bring me your torch. Kenny, tribe has spoken.
And then last but not least, we have what might be the first dragon to ever exist in Survivor lore. I don't really think we had a dragon in season 1 or 2, but come season 3, set in Africa, we inevitably found one. Lex. Good old mastermind Lex. Controlling the tribe alongside those other Baran boys in Ethan and Big Tom, Lex was the frontman of the band and dictated much of the direction of this season. His biggest shot call was at the merge when the tribe ousted Clarence, but Lex got paranoid and thought there may be a rat in their midst. And what is this? Why is the big dragon being scared of the little tiny creature like the rat? Lex blamed Kelly, a player who wasn't actually voting against him, but in the process pissed her off and then led her to quickly turning on him. Lex got a bit of a lucky break with Frank and Brandon not getting along. These were two players on the opposite side of the battlefield. Infighting began between them, and Lex took advantage of the opportunity to get Brandon on his side. The wildest part of Lex's eventual demise at that final 3 is that he was on the receiving end of a major production screw-up, where they incorrectly got an answer wrong at the Final 4 Trivia Immunity Challenge. Had they got this right, there is a chance that Lex wins immunity and goes to the Final 3 with 2 players who probably take him to the Final 2, where he probably wins. But instead, his Slayer wins at both the Final 4 and then the Final 3, and instead, he is ousted by Kim with her single vote. And just to cap off this 15 dragon list now, I want to point out that almost every time a dragon is slain, one of the Slayers goes on to win the game. Lex was the first dragon to go down, and yet Kim did not go on to win the game. I don't know if that means that Kim was robbed, but she certainly didn't get as many flowers as befitting a Slayer of Dragons.
You know, what will be weighing heavy on our minds and on our hearts today is wondering which one of us is out of the game tonight and which one of us is going to be here until the very end, until the Final 2. Only one of us can stay, and that's all up to Mama Cat.
It boiled down to a physical problem. I finally did not have the strength to stand anymore, and my mind and my will and my pride would have had me up there another 3 hours. I want you to vote your heart, and don't look back and don't regret anything, because it'll be all right.
The 14th person voted out of the tribe. Lex, the tribe has spoken.
In the end, those are 5 more of the grandest dragons to ever be slain on Survivor. Let me know what you think about my picks, about these beasts, and any others you think I could include if I talked about this topic again one day. And as per usual, a big thank you to my patrons for all of your slings and arrows. You have helped me fight 15 of them now. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to tread lightly on your way out. Here be dragons, and I will see you in the next one, once I finally confirm the kill with this one last vote. Dragon slayed.
To defeat a worthy opponent like that at this stage in the game, the piece de resistance.
8th person voted out of Survivor Tocantins and the first member of our jury. Brendan, tribe has spoken.
Good luck, fellas.
Dragon Slayer has vanquished the dragon once and for all.